Hey there friends and enemies, JoPaWrites here again, and today I've got another Destiny 2 video for you guys as we only have a few days left until the final shape launches. And I am super excited about the brand new Prismatic subclass, even more so with some of the information we've gotten over the last few days. So if you missed it, the Prismatic subclass has a secondary super bar that you have to charge up with a light and dark section. In order to charge this meter up, you're going to have to get kills with both light and dark subclass energy. So essentially you can either use Void, Arc, or Solar for the light side, and then you can use Strand or Stasis for the dark side. But a kinetic weapon will charge up both at the same time. So I personally think this is going to significantly increase the value of certain kinetic primary weapons, especially the exotics that we have that have been laying dormant for quite some time. So I'm going to go through some that I think are going to benefit the most from this, and also talk about some potential sleepers as well. I will talk about some legendaries and exotics, but primarily focusing on the exotics. First off, a few honorable mentions. We have something like the Sweet Business, which I think could be pretty cool, but overall, you're not really juggling your abilities as much with the Sweet Business, so it doesn't really make sense to run this with Transcendence as much, in my opinion, even though this will be a popular option. You look at something like Osteo Striga and as well as the Thorn, and both of those I think will be pretty good overall, but they're already pretty valuable, so I don't know how much better they are going to get. Plus, Osteo is getting a nerf with the final shape as well. So I think all that wrapped up means we might see some new contenders rising to the top. As far as the legendaries go, Midnight Coup as well as Hung Jury. Midnight Coup with Kinetic Tremors, and then Hung Jury with either Explosive or you have Firefly on it, could be very interesting perks. Essentially what you want with the kinetic weapons is to have high density ad clear, so that way you can clear a bunch of enemies at a quick session, and then that way you're going to be charging up your meter as fast as possible. So something like SMGs would be popular, but there's not really a lot of kinetic SMGs that really perform at the way that I think they could. Maybe a Huckleberry might be interesting, but I don't think it does enough. However, there are some options that I think could be very good as far as exotics. And the first one I want to talk about is going to be the Outbreak Perfected. Now, we obviously just got this back with a brand new exotic quest, so it is craftable. I think a lot of people will be using this, but one of the things I like about this, as well as the next weapon I'm talking about, is they can do a bit of ad clear. They can also take down chunkier enemies, whether they are mini bosses, even bosses. You can help out with the Outbreak Perfected as well as some other options. So I do feel like that is something that will see a rise in viability, especially now that it is crafted and everybody can use it and upgrade it and get the exact roles that they do want. Same thing with the Revision Zero. This is another craftable one. And if you missed it, pulse rifles are getting a buff in PvE with the expansion as well, which I think is going to play a huge part in what we see used in PvE as well. And for a long time, pulse rifles have not felt all that great, and I'm really hopeful that with the final shape, we will see the usage of them really rise. Now, whether the Revision Zero as well as Outbreak Perfected become meta or not remains to be seen, but both I think are super flexible, so it allows you to not only clear ads, you'll be charging your Transcendence meter, but also you'll be able to take down chunkier enemies without necessarily having to use your heavy or special, and that versatility I think could come in handy quite a bit. But there's one weapon that I think is going to benefit the most from Transcendence, and I think I'll be running absolutely all the time with the Prismatic subclass, and that is the Traveler's Chosen. This sidearm is so much fun already. Yes, it doesn't have a lot of range, but not only will you be charging up your Transcendence, but you'll also be recharging your abilities. So if you want to essentially infinitely spam your abilities, this is going to be the weapon for you. And not only that, but I think this one is going to perform really well, even if you look at some more difficult content, because right now it does struggle a bit. That lack of range can be a bit of a problem, but not only can you run it with a double sidearm loadout with Indebted Kindness, but you can also pair it with some other long range options. And hopefully, as we no longer have to worry about only kinetic sniper rifles having a bigger benefit against bosses, we might see a rise in the use of sniper rifles in that energy slot. So that could be a very, very good combination. Plus, we're going to see some other options that I think will be much better once the final shape does launch. So that's why I think Traveler's Chosen is going to be absolutely fantastic. Again, whether you are taking on the legendary version of the campaign or anything like that, maybe it's a little bit too risky for you to run. But in my opinion, the ad clear potential with this is going to be absolutely phenomenal. And I can't wait to get hands on and see how it works with Transcendence. Again, there's going to be a lot of viable options. I'm really looking forward to using kinetic exotic weapons once the final shape does hit, because I think for a long time they have felt lackluster. There really hasn't been a reason to use a lot of them outside of maybe a Wither Horde or a Izanagi's Burden for DPS, and that's really frustrating for me personally, because I like when there's a variety of different options, and this is going to provide an easy way to get your Transcendence racked up and pretty much spam your abilities at all time, which I really, really enjoy. Now, as far as the kinetic options, as I mentioned before, Midnight Coup and then Hung Jury could be two very, very good possibilities, but it also will have you wanting to use kinetic primary legendary weapons as well, as on top of exotics, if you want to go that route. And that is something that I think the versatility could be very, very good. If we get something like a kinetic waveframe, we do have a kinetic heavy trace rifle exotic coming in the final shape, which I think we'll see a lot of use simply because of the way it works with Transcendence. You could probably essentially run a double primary or double special setup, which has kind of fallen off the wayside with the lack of ammo recently, but because you would be using the trace rifle as a basically a primary, and then you'll have all these abilities to spam once you exhaust some of your ammo or when you are able to pop your Transcendence. It does feel like that is going to be a way to really min-max with the kinetic option. So really looking forward to that. I do think that the final shape is going to shake things up quite a bit, and that's very, very exciting for someone who likes to test out different builds and try new things pretty much all the time in the game. So I'm really looking forward to that. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, helps me out tremendously, shows you want to see more Destiny 2 content. I'm going to have a load of coverage once the final shape does drop. I'm really looking forward to that. I think this is one of the most exciting times in recent memory to be a Destiny 2 player, and I am really hyped about the new expansion. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. My name is Jopa. Have a good one. I'll catch you all later.